Welcome to Wellness for Real. It's with me, Heather Heinen. If you are in your 40s, 50s, 60s, or beyond and want to stay strong, energized, and sharp, you are in the right place. From science-backed nutrition and hormone health to strength training, athletic performance, and evidence-based mindset tools to make real lasting change in your life now, we are redefining what it means to thrive after midlife. Hey everyone, welcome to Wellness for Real. This is the place where we are going to dig into the science and the real practical strategies for living strong, energized, and purposeful, particularly after age 40. So, whether you're feeling fabulous or maybe frustrated with how your body and mind are changing, in today's episode, I'm going to be talking directly to you. And we're going to talk about what some people have called second puberty. It's really that strange, powerful, often confusing transformation that happens in our 40s and beyond. And much like the first time we went through a major hormonal shift, for many of us, that was in our pre to early teens, this second wave isn't just about hot flashes or getting older. It's really about a total neuroendocrine reboot. And today we're going to unpack it all. I'm going to explain what's happening in your brain, your metabolism, your emotions, your energy systems. I'll share examples to help it make sense. And most importantly, some science backed strategies you can use to feel better, think clearer, and move through this transition with a lot of confidence. Okay, so let's talk about it. What is second puberty really? So, when most of us hear the word menopause, we think of a sharp drop in estrogen, probably night sweats, weight gain, and maybe some emotional volatility. But that's really just the tip of things. So, what's really happening is that your body, particularly your brain, is really entering a new operating mode. And it doesn't just shut down, which I feel like within how we think about perimenopause and menopause. It's this thing like the brain and the body are shutting down. And that's not at all what's going on. And our mindset around this and understanding this, I believe, is really important in perimenopause and menopause and going through this transition. It really adapts. So it does not shut down. It really adapts. So think back to your teenage years. Puberty wasn't just about starting your period or getting taller. It was about the brain reshaping itself to prepare for adulthood. You probably don't remember all the chaos going on, but it really was a big deal. And if you have kiddos and going through puberty or you've been through that stage in life as a parent, you can probably relate to how often there's so much kind of craziness, right? That feels like that's going on. Well, it's really the same thing that happens in midlife. In fact, there's some researchers out there. One who I've listened to is Dr. Lisa Mosconi, and she's a neuroscientist, and she's shown through brain imaging that during perimenopause, the brain literally reorganizes itself in response to hormonal shifts, particularly estrogen. So I want us to stop calling this time in life a decline. It's much more accurate to say it's a neurohormonal evolution. So I want you to understand what the science is behind this shift. Let's get a little specific here. So during perimenopause and menopause, the ovaries begin to reduce their production of estradiol, and that's the most potent form of estrogen. Progesterone also drops, and testosterone may decline more slowly, but it does decline steadily over time. And here's the kicker: these hormones aren't just for reproduction, they're deeply involved in things like brain metabolism and neurotransmitter activity, especially serotonin and dopamine. And they're heavily involved in sleep regulation, thermoregulation, right? That's why the night sweats happen. Majorly involved in bone density, skin elasticity, muscle maintenance, gut function, and immune response. So you can imagine the effects when these finely tuned systems really get disrupted with all the hormonal shifts. It's sort of like that high performing orchestra suddenly loses its conductor. So this is why you might feel foggy foggy brain, that brain fog that we talk about. You might feel wired but tired, right? You're almost like on edge, buzzy kind of feeling, but you're exhausted. You might feel emotionally ungrounded, might feel like your metabolism just is hit the brakes, right? It's no longer there. And you might feel like your motivation has disappeared just overnight. And it's not in your head, it is your head and your gut and your mitochondria. So let's talk a little bit more about the brain because this is one of the most overlooked areas in midlife wellness. Estrogen is deeply involved in energy metabolism within the brain. It helps brain cells use glucose efficiently. So when estrogen drops, the brain has to switch fuel sources, kind of like a hybrid car switching from gas to electric. And some researchers believe this energy shift is why so many women in perimenopause and early menopause report brain fog, memory lapses, and trouble focusing. But here's the really empowering part. This isn't permanent. The brain does adapt. The initial drop in metabolic efficiency does stabilize over time, and many women experience a resurgence in clarity, creativity, and purpose after menopause. There's a doctor out there. It's hard for me to pronounce her name. I think it's Brezendine. She calls it the upgrade, right? So once the brain recalibrates, it's like the fog lifts, and what's left is a woman who often knows what she wants more clearly than ever before. Another major system that gets reshaped in this second transition in life is the HPA axis, and that's your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, and this is your body's stress response system. So because estrogen and progesterone modulate cortisol, the drop in these hormones can make your system more sensitive to stressors. So you might find yourself more anxious, easily overstimulated, or needing more recovery time from emotional or physical stress. So it's not just that you're moody, it's that your internal stress thermostat has been recalibrated. And let's tackle one of the most frustrating and misunderstood parts of this transition, and that is weight gain and muscle loss. And this is what I hear the most women complain about. When they're sort of in perimenopause, menopause is typically the weight gain and the muscle loss. And many women notice they start gaining fat right around the midsection, even if they're eating and their exercise habits haven't changed at all. And here's why. Loss of estrogen affects insulin sensitivity. And so when we are not as insulin sensitive, that means there's going to be a lot of extra kind of sugar, if you will, running around in the body. So that loss of estrogen really affects that whole system. That's why also a lot of women become pre-diabetic or diabetic in perimenopause, um, going into menopause. And then we have muscle mass that declines, and then our sleep quality really tanks, which affects hunger hormones like ghrelin and leptin. And then chronic stress or poor recovery can really keep that cortisol elevated, which promotes that fat storage. Remember, cortisol, and I've talked about this a lot in past episodes, but cortisol and insulin are kind of two hormones that run together. So when we have chronic stress, that means cortisol's high. That means we're going to have a really hard time with metabolism as well because that insulin response is going to be off. But again, this is not irreversible. You just really need to shift strategies. So, what worked in your 30s probably is not going to work now, but your body is still highly trainable. So let's get into some real practical strategies for supporting your body through menopause. So here are 6 evidence-based tools to help support your body and brain during this shift in life. So number 1, and I'm sure you're all going to roll your eyes because you're hearing it all the time, but it's really, really important, and that is to prioritize strength training. So muscle really is your metabolism. I want you to think of it that way. It's also a hormone reserve. So aim for 2 to 3 full body lifting sessions per week. And there's a bonus with that. Resistance training increases BDNF, and that's brain derived neurotrophic factor. And that really supports the brain function. So that can actually help with brain fog. Number two, eat your protein first. So, protein helps maintain lean mass and balances blood sugar. Aim for 30 to 40 grams per meal. Add in collagen for joints and skin, especially if paired with resistance exercise and vitamin C. That's a little bonus there. Number three, you can track your recovery. So, wearables like Whoop or the Aura Ring can help monitor sleep and HRV, and your recovery matters more than intensity in this phase of life. Now, I'm going to throw in a little caveat here. I got an Aura Ring. I don't know if I ever talked about it on this podcast. Maybe I did in a past episode, but I got an Aura Ring and it was super fun at first. Like I really, really loved it. You know, it's tracking all my sleep, tracking my recovery. I have a hard time taking rest days. And I wasn't feeling very good. So I wanted this, biofeedback to kind of help me stay accountable to my recovery days. And it worked for a while, but then I'm not exactly sure what happened. I probably hormones were shifting even more, and it got into where I was not sleeping very well. So every morning I wake up with this, well, it wasn't horrible, but a pretty not great sleep score. And mentally, it just got me into this bad mindset, right? Of like, now I didn't sleep well again. So now I'm going to be tired today, and I probably shouldn't work out, all these things. And it was doing that day after day. Like I was doing all the things to try to recover, but I just wasn't recovering. And honestly, I just had to take the Aura Ring off for a while. I still have it off at this point. It ended up probably just with my mindset doing more harm than good for me. Now I'm just trying to really listen to my body. And if I feel really, really tired, I take a rest day or do something, like light activity. But at this point, I'm not going to put that thing back quite yet. But for some people who can maybe manage that mindset a little better than me, might be really, really helpful. Okay, number four, sync with light. So your circadian rhythm is tied to hormone production. So really, I mean, sometimes I'm sure you've heard this advice, getting that morning light exposure within 30 minutes of waking and dim the lighting 2 hours before bed. You've probably heard all that. But, it's not flippant. It's really important. It can really help. If you get that morning light right away, it can really help with your sleep the upcoming night, and then you're getting better sleep. So it all kind of rolls into these positive momentum to help you to feel more energized and to have everything working in the body as we want it working. Number five, nervous system regulation. The nervous system is often in overdrive during this time. So you really have to focus on giving it daily care. So you can try things like box breathing. That would be 4 breaths or 4 second count. Breathing in, you hold for 4 seconds at the top of the breath. You breathe out for 4 seconds. You hold for 4 counts at the bottom of the breath, and you repeat. Another one I love is, and you've heard me say it over and over, you inhale through the nose for whatever count you want. So let's say you inhale through the nose for a count of 4, then you're just going to double the exhale. So exhale through the nose for a count of 8. Helps to calm that nervous system down, reset it. Doing things like yoga nidra or guided body scans. So just using an app to take you through where, you're listening to someone take you through what to put attention on in a guided body scan or a yoga nidra. Use these. I love these. I often use them in the evening or before bed, or if I wake up during the night, I'll do another yoga nidra. Really a lot of great research behind how helpful these are for resetting the nervous system. And then even things like tactile grounding. So walking barefoot, thinking about your feet on the ground, warm baths or weighted blankets, those things can also help calm the nervous system. Okay, number six, can't do this episode without talking about this, but explore some HRT, right? Some hormone replacement therapy if it's appropriate for you. You got to first find a knowledgeable provider. I had an episode a while back on how to do this because it's not easy, but it is well worth it if you can find someone who knows what they're doing. And then HRT can really support. It's not just about not having hot flashes, right? It's about supporting our bones, our brain, our mood, and skin into as we get older. But it really does need to be tailored to you. So you can look for providers certified by the North American Menopause Society. That's a great place to start because that means providers on that list have actually had to go through education on perimenopause and menopause. So you can ask things about transdermal estradiol, micronized progesterone, and testosterone if it's indicated for you. Lastly, let's not forget that this shift in midlife isn't just a biological transition. It's a really deeply personal and often spiritual one. You might find yourself questioning your role, your relationships, your goals, and that's not a breakdown. It really can be seen as a becoming. And this is the time when many women come back to themselves. They rediscover creativity, they build strength, they launch new businesses, they travel solo, they go back to school, they start rock climbing, whatever lights them up. Midlife can be your most vibrant, potent, and authentic era. All right, so to recap, second puberty, it is real, right? And it's kind of a silly way to describe it, but I think it kind of gives it a little bit more of an idea what's happening than when we just use the word perimenopause and menopause. It is whole body, it is temporary, and it is transformational. You are not broken, you are becoming someone new, and you are allowed to support that process with science, compassion, and strength. If you found value in this episode, I'd love if you shared it with a friend or if you subscribed to the show or left a review. All those things help me to continue to get an episode out every week. And just remember, I'll be here every week bringing you tools and stories to help you age with power and performance. Your body is evolving. Let's evolve with it. We will talk soon. Thanks for tuning in to Wellness for Real. Don't forget to sign up for my free monthly newsletter. It's packed with tips for real well-being, high protein recipe in every issue, and exclusive discounts on products and services I trust. You can find the link in the show notes at my website, heatherheinen.com. Let's stay connected. Follow me on Instagram at Heinen Counseling and Coaching, on Facebook at Wellness for Real, and catch more content on YouTube. And if you're enjoying the show, please rate, review, and share it. It really helps others find the support and inspiration they need to thrive after midlife.
The information in this podcast is intended to provide a broad understanding and knowledge of healthcare topics. This information is for educational purposes only and should not be considered complete and should not be used in place of advice from your physician or healthcare provider. We recommend you consult your physician or healthcare professional before beginning or altering your personal exercise, diet, or supplementation program.